I'm here at the Shanghai Tower. I've been meeting with a number of business guys, with representative from government. We followed up on a number of things and activities, potential activities we initiated a few months ago. So we're following up on that. In the meantime, there's also Willy Maurer here in China. He was in Shanghai a little while ago, together with a whole delegation of leaders from banking. It was a Fintech event, a panel. There were had some great conversation with a number of the members of that delegation at that event. Willy Maurer, our finance minister and the president of the Swiss Confederation, is definitely a very authentic, honest, convincing ambassador for Swiss Fintech. Also, Mr. Herbert Scheidt, who is the chairman of the Swiss Banking Association, he's really very much committed to open doors for banking, but also for Swiss Fintech here in China. Well, they have left Shanghai now and they're off to Beijing, where they will spend several days. And I'm very much convinced that there are at least a number of meetings there they will be having, which have great potential to really make a step forward and to have an important impact for Switzerland, for the Swiss fintech sector and Swiss banking. I think by now we all agree on the Chinese side and on the Swiss side that it makes very much sense to collaborate in the fintech area. I think we all agree that we should benefit a lot if you have Chinese fintechs coming to Switzerland and Swiss fintechs going to China. I think now it's really the time to go a step ahead, to move forward, to increase the pace, and to really come up with concrete actions. So it's not easy to really come up with concrete actions, to really generate concrete actions. So how should we do that in between China and Switzerland? Well, I came up with 4 points, 4 ideas how we could generate more actions. Before talking about these points, though, we should be aware of the reality. Well, let's face the fact. To have a pure Chinese fintech startup coming to Switzerland, or to have a pure Swiss fintech startup coming to China, to be successful, to make it in one of these countries, honestly, it's almost impossible. So, being aware of that, what should we do? Well, these are my 4 points. Point number 1, when looking at startups, at fintech startups, we want to help, to support, to go to the other country. We need to look at the team first. So the team members, or at least a number of the team members, they already should have experience abroad. So that means for a Chinese startup which wants to come to Switzerland, the team must consist of Chinese who studied, for instance, abroad. Doesn't need to be Switzerland only, could be Germany, could be UK, should be US, who studied abroad, already got to know the culture, or Chinese who worked abroad in one of the Western countries. And the same goes for a Swiss startup which wants to go to China. Clearly, they need some experience, so the team should consist out of Swiss who already have experience in China, who studied in China, or who worked already at a corporate in China. Point number 2, incubator and accelerators can help. And I don't mean with money and funding in the first place, because that doesn't really help in the end. That doesn't do the trick. Startups just would burn the money and not really have success. So it would be to help them to connect with the corporate world in that specific country, in China or in Switzerland. That's one thing, but much more important is the coaching. So coach these fintech startups on how to pitch in this specific country, how to do marketing in this specific country, how to do business plans in these specific countries, how to interact with people, how to approach the corporates, how to talk to the corporates, how to talk to investors, how to write business cases that it is understood well and appreciated well within this specific country. These things and many more. So this coaching is done pretty well already at F10, the F10 Incubator and Accelerator, for which I'm a senior advisor. But it can be, even there, it can be enhanced in the case of China, because in these very different cultures, for these very different cultures, the coaching needs to be more specific, because there are things where Chinese fintech startups, or in the other case, Swiss fintech startups, need less help, but there are other areas where they need much more support. So what I mean by that is the coaching should be tailor-made. There's not one size that fits them all. So it needs to be tailor-made and needs to be specific for this very culture. Point number 3, benefit from fintech startups, from Chinese or Swiss fintech startups who already made it abroad, who made it in the other country. Because those guys can help a lot. They already made that experience. And it's sometimes really easier to explain and to coach from the same culture to the same culture. So these startups, these fintech startups we already have, they could come from incubators and accelerators where they went through the program, and they could really advise these new startups, these Chinese startups who want to come to Switzerland, or the Swiss startups who want to go to China. We have very specific cases in the F10 Incubator and Accelerator. We have 2 Chinese startups already. We have C2Sec, which was a Chinese startup with American background, and we have Swiss Fintech, which was a Chinese startup with a Swiss-German background. So that ecosystem is there. So if we involve those startups, those alumni, that could be of big help for the new fintech startups who want to come and be successful. So 4, the 4th point, the last but not at all least. Actually, that one I'm stealing from our finance minister, William Maurer, who said a little while ago, we, Switzerland, we're too small. We can't go alone, so government and business needs to work together very closely. I fully agree with that, especially for the fintech sector. What I mean with that is we have the Swiss government in Switzerland, especially the finance minister, William Maurer, who's a big help to push Swiss fintech. Then we have the government in China, such as the embassy and the governmental organizations such as Swiss Next and Swiss Business Hub. Then we have the business. We have the banks who already have experience in China, who are already in China. We have, of course, the fintech startups, who should be very much involved in the whole process. We have the accelerators, the fintech accelerators and incubators. They should be involved very much. And then, in addition, we have a number of individuals, Swiss experts in banking and fintech, who also know the Chinese market, who know the Chinese culture. And those can help to support, those can help to connect the dots. Also, those should be involved.